Q&A with Ari Blue. I'm your host, Ari Bluestein. Thank you for joining me here on Facebook Live on this special Tuesday night edition. Usually we're running this on Wednesday night, but we're a day early because there was just so much great baseball action today, lacrosse action today, and we've had some questions come in, so we felt that it was pretty necessary to come on here on a Tuesday night. Again, if you want to submit any questions, there's already been some questions submitted, but you might be able to get your question in before the end of this show. Use the hashtag AskAriBlue. You can do it right here in the comments section on Facebook Live. You can go on to Twitter, hit up our Twitter handle at @_SFBN, or my personal Twitter handle at AriBlueDU. So we have a lot of great questions, so thank you for everyone for submitting so far. Let's get things started here. We're going to start with, this is going to be a boys lacrosse question. This comes in from Harry. Harry M. says, the Interact boys lacrosse standings are the closest that they've been in years. Who is the best team? Great question. Thank you so much, Harry, for submitting that question. You take a look at these standings, and you're talking about 3 teams with a record of 4-2, 2 teams with a record of 3-3. Now, Malvern Prep ended up defeating the Haverford School 12-9 last week on Q&A. I think I was asked the question, who would win that game? I said Haverford. Well, I was wrong. I've got answers for you. They're not always the right answers. They're most of the time my opinion. So I was wrong on that one. Malvern won that one 12-9. And in fact, they followed that up with a good win over Conestoga, who's one of the top teams in District 1 in terms of the PIAA. Beat them 11-9. You look at Episcopal Academy, they're 4-2 along with the Haverford School. EA did beat Malvern 9-8. However, EA probably has the toughest schedule remaining out of the 3 teams who are 4-2. They still have to play Malvern and the Haverford School. So you take a look at that, and I think EA's got the toughest road. Could they surprise the people and ultimately win the Interact or tie for first place? Yeah, that's certainly possible. But I would say that more likely it's going to be Malvern that ends up finishing in first place, or Malvern and Haverford School end up finishing in a tie for first place. And the other 3-3 teams, by the way, are Penn Charter and SEH Academy, Germantown Academy 0-6, pretty much out of the picture there. But those 5 teams that are 500 or above in the Interact will definitely, they'll be competitive in the Interact Challenge at the end of the year. So these teams played awfully close. Penn Charter beat Haverford School. Springside Chestnut Hill has been competitive this year too. So I think right now, you asked me, Harry, who the best team was. I'm going to say right now it's Malvern. They're playing their best lacrosse right now at the right time, and hopefully they can take that momentum to continue forward the rest of the year. But it's very, very close, as you stated in the standings. So thank you very much for submitting that question. Let's get back into our pre-submitted questions. This came in from Terry M. This is a girls lacrosse question. We've kind of got a mixed bag here today because the spring sports are really heating up. So EA just beat Agnes Irwin again 10-9. That actually just happened about an hour ago. Can we say that EA is now the top private school team in the state? Well, honestly, I've just got to say yes. That's a pretty easy question to answer. Agnes Irwin has probably been the best team for the last 3 or 4 years. EA knocked them off in the PESA state championship game, which for those of you not familiar, PESA is the private school's version of the PIAA. And right now, you take a look at EA, and they have 4 losses this year. They're 12-4 now with this win today. Their 4 losses have all come to D.C. and Maryland-based teams, and we all know that Maryland area is very rich in lacrosse talent. Probably the best in the country in terms of that area, D.C., Maryland, Virginia. They haven't lost to anyone in PA. They've beaten Agnes Irwin now twice, beat them in triple overtime at the first game. And they're undefeated in Interact play. And Interact, just like on the boys' side, girls lacrosse, very competitive. So I would have to say EA is the best team until proven otherwise. Now, will EA and Agnes Irwin match up again in the PESA State Championship? That is certainly a likelihood. And can EA beat Agnes Irwin 3 times? Well, it's not very easy to beat really any team 3 times, let alone a great team like Agnes Irwin. So I would love to see that 3rd time around between EA and Agnes Irwin, but I got to say, Terry, to answer your question, EA, yeah, they're the top private school team in the state right now for sure. So thank you very much for submitting that question. And again, you could get into the action here. You can get into the action using the hashtag AskAriBlue. Leave a comment on this Facebook Live or go on Twitter at @the_SFBN or at AriBlueDU. A reminder that you can go to our website to check out everything SFBN, www.thesfbn.com. You can check out all of our great content. We're getting some spring stories up there, but we've got some great stuff, some great articles, great photos from basketball season especially. Check out all of our past episodes from Varsity Voice as previously aired on the Comcast Network and Comcast Sportsnet. Also, all of our past broadcasts, some of our upcoming games. Make sure you check all that out on our website, thesfbn.com. Okay, let's get into another question here. This is actually a baseball question coming in from Chris J. Archbishop Wood's baseball team lost their last 2 games to Salle and Neumann-Goretti. In fact, that Neumann-Goretti loss was yesterday. Now, who do you think is the best team in the PCL? Great question. And anytime we talk about baseball right here on Q&A, and we're talking about the Philadelphia Catholic League, I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is wide, wide open. I'm looking at the standings right now. LaSalle, Judge, Ryan, all 6-2. Carroll 6-3. Neumann-Goretti 5-2. Wood 5-3. Now, Archbishop Wood, they were on the top, and they hadn't lost since their first game of the year. They lose to LaSalle and Neumann-Goretti. So to answer your question, as of now, I would have to give the edge slightly to Neumann-Goretti. They lost their first 2 Catholic League games of the year. One of them was the Comwell-Egan, and one of them was the 3-2 game to Archbishop Ryan, who's very good this year. In fact, Archbishop Ryan just defeated Father Judge basically a half hour ago in a great game between Northeast Philly rivals. But Neumann-Goretti in their last 2 games beat LaSalle and Archbishop Wood, as we just mentioned, and actually as Chris mentioned in his question. So Neumann-Goretti, they were the favorite coming into this year. And right now, I feel like they're on track. So I think that it's Neumann-Goretti. But again, it's wide open. LaSalle, certainly in the conversation after beating Archbishop Wood, they're always a phenomenal program. And you can't forget about the middle-of-the-road teams like St. Joe's Prep, Cardinal O'Hara, even Roman Catholic. Bonner Prendy always has a decent team. And Comwell-Egan, they did beat Neumann-Goretti early in the year, but they haven't won since then. So, but again, very, very tight. I would have to give it right now, give the edge to Neumann-Goretti. So thank you very much for submitting that question. Okay, we're going to get to another question here. This was actually just submitted on Facebook Live. Let's take a look at this question. Thank you very much. This is from Carter. With high school sports growing so large, I have noticed in numerous articles that there is a shortage of high school officials across all high school sports. Why do you think this is concerning? Well, thank you for that question, Carter. And looking at your question again, you're asking about shortage of high school officials. Well, I don't know why this is occurring here, Carter. This is a great question. Being a official in athletics, number one, I've done it one time as a volunteer referee for middle school girls basketball. And after that, I was done. So it is not an easy job. You hear it from coaches. You hear it from fans. You hear it from players. It is a absolute thankless job. Now, I played baseball and basketball back in my day. Have I complained to officials? Sure. Do I get mad at officials now when watching sports? Certainly. And again, it's not an easy job. But I think it's a fairly well-paying job. And I think you just have to get, some young people who are involved in the sport that maybe can't compete at the highest levels, but they've competed at the high school or maybe even the college levels or even middle school or rec league levels or travel team levels. People that are interested in the sports and get them on board with being an official, get them in, grassroots when they're very young. And I think that could really help getting more officials. But again, to answer your question, why I think it's occurring, I think it's just because it's a tough job. It is not an easy job. It's easy to sit back and watch on TV and make the call, but to actually be in the moment and make the call, without replay, just with the naked eye, that's not easy. So thank you very much for the question, Carter, and hopefully we can see some more youngsters get into officiating. So thank you for the question. We're getting some great questions, and a reminder that you can go to our website, www.thesfbn.com, to check out everything about SFBN, our past episodes of Varsity Voice, our fresh content that has some great articles, great photos, particularly during basketball season, our past broadcasts, and again, a reminder that, we're not doing a lot in the spring in terms of live broadcasts, but coming up later this month, May 20th, it's a Saturday night, Saturday evening around 5 o'clock, SFBN will be covering the Philadelphia, the City All-Star football game, which features public versus non-public. Basically, it's public versus the Catholic and Interact leagues. It should be a lot of fun. I'll be on the call play-by-play. You can watch it. Make sure you check out our website for how you can watch that broadcast. So we're doing a lot of great things. Okay, we had another question that was submitted here before. Okay, this came in from Jack. Frankford got a no-hitter. Okay, this is a high school baseball question, first off. Frankford got a no-hitter yesterday and has allowed 4 runs all season. That's pretty good. Frankford's always a good squad. They've beaten Archbishop Ryan also, which Ryan's a pretty good team. Can they be stopped in the pub? Great question. We talked about public league baseball a little bit, maybe last week on Q&A. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before. Frankford has always been a very good team. You can even go back to the beginning of this millennium, if you will, the early 2000s. They've always been a great program, and they lost to Alany in the Public League Championship last year. But Juan Namnoon, the coach for Frankford, very, very good coach, fundamentally sound. So I would just say that they are going to be tough to beat. But with that said, I think the Public League, just like the Catholic League, is wide open. You've got SLA, Science Leadership Academy, very good team. Central is always strong. Franklin Town Charter is a team to be reckoned with. Alany, who won the whole thing last year, is in the conversation. Northeast is starting to gain some steam. Lincoln is solid as well. So you look at the Public League Division A, Frankfurt, they're the team to beat. They're undefeated, very good team, very well coached, but they are not untouchable, in my opinion. So can they be stopped? I think the answer is yes, and we'll see who that ends up being, to be honest. There's still a week or two of baseball yet to be played before we get the Public League playoffs, and Frankfurt probably will be the 1 seed. They will have the bullseye on their back. They're going to be tough to beat. Thank you very much, Jack, for submitting that question. And a reminder, as we're wrapping up here, you can use the hashtag AskAriBlue. I'm going to check our Twitter feed right now just to see if we got any questions on Twitter. We got a lot of great questions here that were submitted, so thank you very much. And again, another reminder, you can check out more about SFBN. If you want to learn more about what SFBN is all about, go to our website, thesfbn.com. We are growing, and we are growing fast, and we are becoming one of the top high school sports websites in the entire country. That's right. We are going to be taking over. We're starting to take over PA. We're getting into South Jersey. So make sure you learn more about SFBN and what we do. It looks like we don't have any questions on our Twitter feed, but thank you very much. This was great. We had some great questions. Thank you for all the interaction. Thank you to everyone watching. And another reminder, by the way, this isn't the only show on our Facebook Live page. You can watch In the Circle, the only softball talk show in the Philadelphia area about Philadelphia area softball, and it's some great softball in this area. Trust me. It's called In the Circle. It airs Monday nights, and this coming Monday on May 8th, we're going to be live on location in Bristol featuring some of the top coaches, top players in the area. It's Bucks County softball night. It should be a lot of fun. Bristol, Neshaminy in the house, Truman in the house as well. It should really be a lot of fun, and I will be there live talking to a lot of people. So that's In the Circle on Monday night, and we'll be back next week on either Tuesday or Wednesday with Q&A. If you want to submit a question or you're watching the replay of this, just use the hashtag AskAriBlue. We'll get to your question next week. Thank you again so much for all the questions, the participation. Thank you for watching, and everyone enjoy the rest of your evening.